Terraforming Earth, Everything We Do is About Survival by Omsk Social Club. Alan Badu answers the question, what is the functionality of desire, with the adage, to open our bodies up to the outside. This state is both a mental and physical one. You can experience it both in and out. Jean Baudelaire also states in Fatal Strategies that stimulation is the ecstasy of the real. Both these ideas can be connected to Omsk Social Club's modus of working since 2016. We have crafted numerous live, immersive worlds that people have inhabited through role-playing formats. The worlds are opened for as little as 8 hours or as long as 58 days, which was our longest work to date on realism. We create worlds that sit within the contemporary art sphere and are constructed through hybrid narratives that mash up daily realities and possible future fictions. We call our works real gameplays, and our aim is to bleed life and fiction as a form of direct action in the endeavor to construct alternative states of future, living, and spore temporary decentralized temples. We of course understand our artworks to be illusions, and all illusions to be synthetic by their very nature of being illusions. But what happens when you create a consensual collective hallucination? If more than one person believes in it, does it cease to exist as an illusion, as it is a shared thought? We cannot even begin to answer this question with any sort of rationale, naturally, because the idea of belief is irrational by its very structure. A belief is not just about deeming something real or not. It is about power, value, societal archetypes, identity, politics, and economy. During our real gameplays, we acknowledge belief systems to have an enormous role, but not in the way we are trying to indoctrinate our users, but more what is believable or not to the community and the individual. This space is constantly being negotiated by those who use it. We see this as a sort of labor, which is a hybrid form of play and labor, common in the gaming industry, but can also be seen in social media strategies of participation. Yet our labor differs greatly from the latter, as ours is played out in real time and space. We also create events that are not so easily accessible and require a lot of participation and preparation to enter into. As if just learning a new character or identity is work enough, but then you may also have to mine your ticket for 11 hours or go to a workshop for 6 with no breaks, or learning a new skill or set of knowledge. We also understand the format of our works. Giving up your life for 72 hours or more is not so convenient for the accelerated world of attention economy and production. But we wish to reverse a little, to be able to speak more broadly on the term of terraforming Earths. I wonder if you've ever read The Trouble with Bubbles. It's a short story by Philip K. Dick, which outlines a fad called Own Your Own World. They are manufactured by a company called the Worldcraft Store. The stories follow one of the tournaments, which works similar to a hackathon. Competitors stay up for 72 hours straight, coaxing their worlds to develop from a prehistoric era to the now. The winner is announced a 60-something woman, and as she finds out she has won, she brings her world up high and smashes it down on the floor, and all the other competitors do the same, in a ritual madness that Dick actually describes as an orgy of Dionysian lust, interesting being the god of fertility. One character declares, "They're smashing them all the worlds." It zooms out in the narrative at this point to a character who has come to pick up their friend. he begins to absently create reasons why this is the status quo response. Apparently, in his world view, worldcraft became a thing when people realized they were the only living things in the universe, and when automation became so normalized that people only had leisure time and had no way how to use it, no ideas, until worldcrafting became a thing. It then zooms out further to a lawyer who is creating a case to end worldcrafting, declaring worldcraft industries a public menace due to the, amongst other points, that the owner of the machine, the world, literally becomes a world owner, since the machine controls forces that govern a subatomic universe. He goes on to add that these miniature civilizations are not dreams. They are real. They actually exist, the microscopic inhabitants. He trails off and we never find out if worldcrafting is outlawed or not. But the short messages that Dick wrote in 1953 do open up a lot of ideas in relation to fiction theory. The plausibility of worldcrafting and why people deter people from making their own worlds, for better or worse. So as he trails off, one's mind can easily float between the space of yes, save the inhabitants, no matter how microscopic they are, because that's the ethical adage, right? Quickly, further questions arise. Did the crafters QAnon or KEK or other edgelord entities mull over the questions that they will really are people that they will crush through their users' addictions to lol world-crafting machines? But as soon as those thoughts begin to circulate, one also begins to think about the colonialists who declared their world to be superior and therefore other worlds could not exist, or the condescending liberals who wish universality for all as long as it's their interior design. One sees legal and not so legal, but enforced methods to stop people from building their own worlds daily across world history. Seemingly, one of the only places to be able to build is in cyberspace. Marshall McLuhan declared once that computer is the LSD of the business world, and in some ways he was correct. It suddenly offers a trip right now, and that can in fact be life-changing and alters the perception of life in front of our retinas. Using language, avatars, gestures, slang, emoji, and stagecrafts, users apply flux to the social imagination of the web, actively tweaking the images, desires, and narratives that partly structure the collective psyche. Through the creative manipulation of life, users conjured up perceptions, habits, and states of consciousness, which in turn impacted the construction of native reality as a whole, aka, in our world methodology, bleed occurs. In most circles, the resolution that online life and offline life are both real is clear, and so this manifestation, which we are calling bleed, has other headers too, such as Legacy Russell dubs it in The Glitch and advocates it through the lens of glitch feminism in her new book. She posits the same gesture that online life allows for things to grow, strengthen, and become fierce, so that when they come out, they will not be crushed by another person's world. I quote Russell. AFK signifies a more continuous progression of the self, one that does not end when a user steps away from the computer, but rather moves forward out into the society away from the keyboard. She adds, when we reject the binary, we reject the economy that goes along with it. Russell, of course, is on the radical left side, whereas, as mentioned earlier, this is also a space that allows the far right to worldcraft too. Cyberspace is not a safer space than AFK is. It too has its parasitic programs, viruses, Trojan horses, haters, spiders, worms, bots, and people. QAnon is likely the most famous backward format of this, lately to have been seen on t-shirts, caps and floats at hygiene demos that fly banners with the words "Save the Children" on them. In brief, as a quick refresher, the QAnon narrative stands to date as this, taken from Wikipedia. QAnon alleges that a cabal of Satan-worshipping pedophiles is running the global child sex trafficking ring and plotting against President Donald Trump, who is battling against the cabal. The theory commonly asserts that Trump is planning a day of reckoning, known as the Storm, when thousands of members of the cabal will be arrested. No part of the theory is based on fact, although preceded by similar viral conspiracy theories such as Pizzagate. The theory probably began on October 2017, posted on an anonymous image board 4chan by Q, who is presumably a single American individual. It is now likely Q has become a group of people. Q claimed to have access to classified information involving the Trump administration and its opponents in the United States. QAnon at this point has been identified as a leading major act and attempted acts of terrorism, specifically in the United States, surrounding the Black Lives Matter campaign, has actually been connected by QAnon. In a sense, both what QAnon and the glitch practices as spaces of empowerment online that can bleed out into the everyday life, but actually from seemingly complete oppositional ways of well-crafting the future. There's also another interesting phenomena that sits within this kind of lens, but more from a phantasm position. It was Slender Man, a fictional supernatural character that originated as a creepypasta internet meme in 2009. He is depicted as a thin, unnaturally tall humanoid with a featureless head and face wearing a black suit. Stories of the Slender Man commonly feature him stalking, abducting, or traumatizing people, particularly children. The Slender Man is confined to a single narrative but appears in many disparate works of fiction, typically composed online. In 2014, two girls, 12 years old, stabbed their classmate 19 times, saying that they had convened with the Slender Man, and this was their first task in becoming his proxies. Other scenes broke out with the possession of children by the Slender Man over the years. This was maybe the first case of internet folklore in regards to bleed space. And so, from our close readings and work with world crafting that seems to allow a world to live is legitimacy, the connection to things, which of course can be fabricated but can also be understood as belief. But in a way, it's the genesis of belief. Legitimacy is also the enabler of greater belief and greater legitimacy. And so, in recent years, there seems or feels to have been a cultural shift towards the field of third order simulacra. Just to break that down, third order simulacra are symbols in themselves taken for reality, and a further layer of symbolism is added. This occurs when the symbol is taken for more important or authoritative than the original entity. Authenticity has been replaced by a copy. Thus, reality is replaced by a substitute. It seems a lot of people are ready to replace reality, or maybe for clarity, we can call it consensual reality, with new fictions and social theory. This line of thinking is not just about living, it's an immediate overthrow of existing reality, but it has also led to the emergence of a practice tool that explicitly positions itself as theory fiction. Theory fiction attempts to collapse its two genres into each other, chicken and egg style. So the writing of theory could fictionalize and produce reality. And of course, reality is indeed writing theory and fiction combined. This method was built from the understanding that our ideas about reality or theories of it came out of fictions. Fictions were used to act and shape reality, just as the self is built up of memories, which are of course self-engineered fictions. In magic, we might call this an article instead of a theory fiction, or online we might call this a meme. This new modus is extremely interesting as it shows how fragile reality actually is, which destabilizes the notion of tradition and power very quickly. It brings up ideas. Are these new tools able to create a global process for the renewal of reality? Is embodied criticism and hacker ethics the way to quickly beat out space for transformative living and alternative imaginaries? And so, back to our experiments over the years, we have found out that any alternative structure to the typical status quo requires ritual and ceremony to enable it, and skill and tact to augment it further. This is a very specific form of alienation that does not lie in the framework of the physical body, but also in the soul, spirit, mind of the user. We believe it has been shown that by communally tapping into this space, it can lead to a toolkit for reprogramming the present. We try to harness this methodology in order to collectively create a more politically effective and viable demeanor for living life. One question we never stray far from in real gameplay: is it possible to reappropriate the soul? And if so, what does it look like after it has been shaken from the shackles of what it is told it is intended for by its master? We believe social becoming is possible, technically, but not yet politically. In order to get there, we must find and engage with methods of sustainable leisure time that blend synthetic life with tangible realities, because after all, the realities that we create will demarcate the choices we have made, not only as individuals, but also as an organic mass. In Omsk Social Club, we accept reality as a craft, and only then can we truly see the uncanniness of the political incubus that rides on our chest each day. By zooming in and out of the self, we see the self is purely a build-up of memory and legitimacy, is only created through its connection to other things. By using these pragmatic tools, we could hack into life and envisage a radically new, diverse, decentralized, autonomous, inclusive social software. We must engage with reality as a system, not a system that is out of our control, but one that is us and we are it.